We're recording it live in case you're watching the recording after, so you might see me interact with some of the lovely folks that are here to join me. I've got an outline. All right. And if we've got any time at the end of this hour, I want to go ahead and answer some questions, but I want to tell you the outline so you know what to expect from this. First off, my name is Isabel Maxwell. And if you haven't met me, hi, you can call me Bo. I love teaching. I light up when I teach. I love teaching live. And we're going to talk about 2025 coming up because it's really important. And I think that there's some game-changing information that I can pass along to you that's going to help you this year. Okay. And when I started to have a conversation with my guide, I work with my main guide. His name is Peter. And when we were talking about it, my first reaction was, I want to get into a live. I want to get into a masterclass. I want to teach some tools. I want to set people up for 2025. And that's what this is all about. So what we're going to do today, you and we are going to talk about 2025. I'm going to talk briefly about some intuitive concepts that are going to be really important for you in 2025, how they're going to be valuable for you in 2025. And then I'm going to give you tools, right? I will lay out in the middle here because I know that we've got a lot of things. Like I teach a lot of different things. And sometimes people are like, I don't know what to do. Like, which one should I do? And I teach paid courses, free courses, and I'm going to lay all of those out. So at the end of this, I will not only leave you with understanding of how you're stepping into 2025, tools to use that we're going to learn right here in this session, right? I'll do those at the end because we'll get all the theory done first. And then I'm going to also lay out some tools that you can also access and have. Anything from free to paid, wherever you land. What matters to me is that I give you enough tools that you can kick off into this new year. Now, really quick, I've been teaching since about 2007, 2008. Teaching the SAGE method. As a matter of fact, if you don't know me yet, I was a complete skeptic up until the age of 31, math major in college, ran businesses, et cetera, et cetera. At the age of 31, my grandmother passed. I couldn't be with her. Middle of the afternoon, after I get off the phone with hospice and she had passed, she showed up in my living room. And yeah. So I didn't believe in anything. There was no religion, no spirituality, nothing. And so I'm going to be honest, out of grief, I said, hey, maybe this is real, right? I'm just going to just play around with it a little bit and see if it's real. And this is actually going to be important to why I teach the way I do, because I didn't know anybody that could help me back then. I wasn't in any spiritual circles. I had no awareness. I was so far out of that circle that I finally made my way in and found some friends and found some people that I could rely on and who helped me figure it out. And the more I dove into it, it was probably like 4 or 5 months after she showed up that initial visit. And I mean like 70% solid, middle of the day, middle of my living room. And I was like, huh. So, but I wanted to figure out if it was like hallucination grief or if it was real. A couple months later, I got proof from her that I couldn't. It was, you can't make it up. And then that kept coming and coming and coming. If you're curious about that, it's in my memoir called Cracking Open, Adventures of a Reluctant Medium. And I think you can get that on, like, I heard recently you can get the audiobook on Spotify with the membership that you already have or something. I don't know. I don't track it. But that the whole laid out story is in that book. And you can get on Amazon or Audible, or like I said, I don't follow that stuff. It was written back in 2011, but here I am. It's real. I'm now moving forward. I'm working with my guide, and all of my teachings came from my first spirit guide, and his name was Big Dog. And the cool thing about that, because I'm so analytical, I need to know how things work, right? The cool thing about that is I was able to take what he taught me and then kind of go out in the world and discover it. So it wasn't like I found something and went to my guide and said, hey, is this how this works? He would tell me how it worked. And then it's, oh, I'm sorry, I just looked over the thing and they were like, recording's not on. So I had a moment of like, oh no, I need to record. Okay, good. I've got the recording going. But I could learn from him and then kind of double check, which made the little scientist in me so happy, right? So I'm very logical, very 1 plus 1 is 2. And over those years, my guide taught me how to open up my intuition. And then my intuition opened up so much that I became a professional medium. And then my guide said to me, take everything I've taught you in the last 2 years and bring it out into the world. That was the birth of the SAGE method. And I have been teaching the SAGE method. I now teach globally. As you saw, we've got some folks in here from New Zealand, UK, like a lot of Americans, Canadians. And at this point, it has spread around the globe. And it's wonderful because it's not one of those things where like, I should teach a course. That would be a great business model. It was, no, this is what happened to me. I replicated it, brought it to my clients, saw what happened as they went through the formula of the SAGE method and went, oh my gosh, there's something to this. So with that said, my teaching style, which is also kind of why you're here, to see like if the teaching style fits. My teaching style is that I give you as many tools as I can. And I am passionate about that. And then I ask you to work with the tools in such a way and adjust them to fit you. Meaning, if you do a meditation and I say, oh, try an element of water, right? If you then later try an element of like fire or earth and it works better, that's what you do, right? I'm what's considered a lighthouse teacher. You are in a ship, you are sailing along, you're about to hit the rocks. I shine a light, guide you around the rocks, send you off to even better waters. So I am the tool giver. I am the one that points out and goes, here, try this, try this, try this, try this, try this. And then your intuition opens up. Now, let's get into 2025. I've been looking forward to 2025 for a long, long time, right? It's been, actually, I'll tell you when my guide first told me that 2025 was going to be a big shift. It was probably right around the end of 2018. And I was like, well, I got some time. I got some time to plan on that, right? And that's actually when he said to please put the SAGE method online, because it's going to be a part of empowering people to have a direct connection to their own spirituality. And I'm like, I'm right there with you. Here we go. When we went through this year, so let's just get kind of real a little bit here for a second. When we went through this year, there was so many things that happened this year, even things that happened just in the last month, that everyone is really struggling right now. And I'm sitting here looking at my guide going, how are we going to put this together? That 2025 is going to be great, because there's a lot of things happening currently on a micro level, on a family level, on a town level, on a global level. There's a lot of things happening, right? A lot of challenges that are coming up. And let me be really clear. I don't work on any particular levels. We don't talk about politics. We don't talk about religion, because that's a very human category. That's human things happening. I'm talking on a spiritual level. So when I talk about transformations and things happening, it's in your energetic level. It's in your spiritual world, not necessarily the human world. However, the human world does navigate how we are able to process through our day-to-day events. Coming up in 2025, we have a shift. And the shift is, it's from inside to out. That's how I'll start by saying it. It's an inside out shift instead of an outside in shift. For the last 3 or 4 years, or even more for some, because we're all different, right? We're all wired differently. For some, for all of us actually, we've been heavily affected by exterior sources for a number of years. Look at what we've gone through, right? As a globe. This spiritual awakening is almost like it came in, and it started around 2018, even though a lot of us weren't aware, right? And then it hit, and it was like, we're going to explode this into a giant mess. We're going to squeeze you from the outside, right? And then you're going to feel so squeezed that by 2024, you're going to be like, what? So, and I'm not laughing at that, because I'm right here with you, but 2025 is when, instead of the outside squeezing in, our inside light starts to push out. And that is the most simple way I can explain what is happening in this spiritual transformation. And this has absolutely nothing to do with any human platforms or human things going on. It has to do with the energy. It's almost like Mother Earth, the environment, everything outside kind of squeeze, 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 squeeze. And then 24 is like, okay, I'm ready to release. And then you get the inner light and it goes out and you start to release. And then 2025 is where your inside light is going to shine brighter. Another way to say that is your soul, your energy, your core being. And as that comes out and starts to shine even brighter and with more power, you're going to have really interesting experiences in 2025 around affirmation building, manifesting. It's going to be odd and bizarre in a very cool, neat way. Have you ever had something in your life where you were like, oh, if only one day it was like this, that would be great. And you wished for it for a long time. And then when it finally came, it was kind of weird because you had spent so much time wishing for it that when it finally showed up, you kind of didn't know what to do with it. Guess what? That's where we are right now. What we've been wishing for, right? Manifesting abilities. And I don't mean like money, I mean like joy, right? Creating and living the life that we want to, living authentically, living without battering programming that's pounding down on us from years ago. Being able to set the boundaries and then find the joy in the boundaries that we set in order to be able to experience our lives the way that we want to. I could say so many different ways that this is going to be effective, but the bottom line is, how do we tap into this? And that's what you and I are here for today. Because I'm just like so excited. Okay, inner light, inner energy is starting to build, right? Some people are already experiencing the effects of it as we tip into the new year. I'm going to be pretty straightforward about this. The new year shifts differently for everyone. Some people feel the new year in the beginning of December. Some people feel it December 21st. Some people feel it January 1st. Some people feel it January 15th, 20th, right? So it's not that it lands on a particular day. This is a transformational time where we're going to step into 2025. So this is going to be a slow build. Don't expect yourself to wake up one day and all of a sudden your light's just expanded. However, if you use the tools that I give you today, and they're easy and they're simple and you can just start using them right away, you're going to start to see what I'm talking about. You're going to start to see the signs that are coming in that are so odd that you can't make them up, right? You're like, oh, that's really weird. That's really strange. I'll give you an example. I have the Sage Circle community and I do card readings live, full moons live, et cetera, et cetera. And I was thinking to myself, recently, like last week, I was thinking, hey, I think I was doing most of them around 6 or 7 o'clock p.m. in my time zone, which ended up being like middle of the night for Europe, and it differed. But like I said, we're growing globally, and I said, I wonder if it would be a good idea to move it up to more of a morning hour for me, and then that would adjust for all the time zones. And it was like 2 hours later, I get an email from someone in the UK going, hey, do you ever do these earlier? And I was like, there it is. And then I did a new member meeting that afternoon, and a wonderful woman named Lisa, who was also in Europe, said, do you ever do any of these earlier? So I've never had that request. No one's ever asked it to me before, but inner light going out, what you put out, you're going to get back faster, quicker, and stronger in 2025. So what I'm teaching you today, I've already put into practice in the last couple of months, and it's kind of fun. I'm going to be honest, it's kind of fun. I will say that, how do I want to say that? Problems, balances, things that you're trying to sort out will sort out a little faster. So if you're waiting on something and it's a little difficult to move through, you're going to move through something difficult a little faster. So what I'm teaching is not how to make everything perfect. I'm teaching you how to be in your most organic, authentic state, to have your energy expanded in such a way that you create your reality in 2025. Okay. So with that said, okay, that's 2025, inside out, right? Let's talk briefly about intuition, because this is going to get into the tools that I'm going to teach you at the end of this session. When it comes to intuition, briefly what I would say, because we could go really deep with this, right? Like the Sage Method course that I've been teaching since 2008 is 7 weeks long. So there's a lot to learn, a lot of really good stuff, but I want to keep this brief because I want to be able to have room for the tools. When it comes to intuition, your intuition is your sixth sense, and your sixth sense is using your other 5 senses. So the nervous system is what is sparked and triggered through your intuition. When an intuitive message comes in, it's going to spark that nervous system. That nervous system is going to take from your library bank of every experience you've ever had, everything you've smelled, everything you've seen, everything you've heard, everything you've touched, everything you've said, everything. It's going to pull from that library bank and it's going to bring something up to say, hey, this is what you need to do. You need to say this, or this is what I'm talking about. This is a red truck, or the smell of pine, or your senses are going to bring the messages through for you. Now, how do we typically start with intuition? We just know. And I want to describe this in a way to you that you have kind of a concept, because if you have like I want to say like a visual concept or sort of a form concept, you can look at that and you can approach it in a way that it can start to open up your intuition very quickly. Here is the concept I want to throw out at you. When it comes to intuition and using your 5 senses, if you're in that stage where intuition comes through and you know, but you don't know how you know, if you say, I'm not sure if I made it up or not, but it just popped in and I didn't see anything or hear anything or feel anything, but I just know. Very common, very common. The knowing is an incredible strength, but what's happening is your 5 senses, imagine them at the end of like nerves, right? So you got 5 senses that all come in, right? And there's kind of a shield around them. And so intuition comes in, but it can't get all the way through that shield. So it can't get all the way through to your visual. It can't get all the way through to hearing. It can't get all the way through to tasting or smelling. So it comes through only far enough that you kind of know, but you don't know how you knew, right? Now, it's using the 5 channels. Here's another way to say it. It's like there are 5 roads, which are your 5 senses. And intuition is like a car going down one of those roads. And it's driving down that road, but it's so far off in the distance that you can't tell which road it's on. So you're like, so this car's coming at you down one of your 5 senses. And you're like, I know there's a car. I can hear the car. I can see the car in the distance. Not really see, but you know there's a car in the distance. But you can't see the car, smell the car, hear the car, taste the car. Your 5 senses, it doesn't come in strong enough to where you can be like, oh, I have a vision, or I have a smell, or I have a taste, or I have a sound. Now, one of the tools I'm going to give you toward the end is talking about how to tap into those 5 senses and how to let that intuition come all the way through. What I want you to know right now in this kind of theory portion of the session is I want you to know that even if you have something that comes through and it is not clear how it came through, I want you to know that it still came through one of your 5 senses. I want you to give yourself permission to know that even though you couldn't pinpoint it, it still came through either your vision or your sound or your touch or your feelings or your taste or your smell. It did come through, but because your intuition isn't honed yet, we're going to hone it. Because it isn't honed yet, it was hard for you to pinpoint which of your 5 senses it used, right? And I'm going to give you a 5 sense tool at the end, but let me say it this way. When you even just saying this and saying, oh, okay, so the knowing isn't like its own independent thing. The knowing is the foundation for intuition coming through all 5 of my senses. Once you know that and you go, oh, then your mind starts to open up and your intuitive channel starts to open up to receive the intuitive information in more detail through the senses. So please just keep that in mind as we go through for the rest of the session. Because we're gonna, at the end of the session, I'm gonna talk about in my list of tools that I want to give you. One is working with the five senses, and then one is also sort of a self-analysis that'll help you strengthen that connection so that when the car in the metaphor comes toward you down those five roads, you can go, oh, that one's on the audio road. I know I can hear it. Oh, that one over there, that one's on the visual road. It's coming through and I can see it clearly. I am seeing, I am hearing, I am tasting, I am smelling. So in the bundle of tools that we talk about, those will be two of them. I'm talking about this in the theory portion of this because it's really important to remind yourself that intuition is not something that one person has more strongly than the other. Remember my story in the beginning of how I opened up? I am the poster child for if I can do this, you can do this. If my intuition is this strong, everyone's intuition is this strong. And that is actually true to form. Everyone's intuition is this strong. I have taught well over like 40,000 students at this point since 2008. It was like 40. I tried to figure it out one day. I did. But I never really kept track of everybody. So I just kind of tried to figure it out. And I've been keeping more track since 2018, but I have taught so many people and I have seen so many people who thought I couldn't open up. All of a sudden they open up. And here is the most valuable reason, and I'm going to connect this into 2025. Here's the most valuable reason I feel to open up your intuition. When you have a direct source to your intuitive channel, to your connection, to your inner guidance, to your inner wisdom, you can make decisions differently. You can, and I'm not a fan of going all in one way or all in another. I'm just not. I always stay very balanced. Having, however, your intuition as a second opinion. Oh, I like that. Second opinion to something that you're trying to figure out, monstrously valuable, hugely valuable. Should I make this big move? Right? You've gone out, you've talked to people, you've gotten the pros and cons, you've tried to decide, should I make this big move in life? When you can carve out time to sit down and trust and tap into your intuition to get an answer, and I'm going to give you a fun exercise on how to do this too. You're either going to get a loud and clear yes, and then you're going to have more confidence and you're going to move forward with more ease on this big decision, or you're going to get a no, right? And then you know you need to adjust something. Yes and no intuitively isn't like don't ever do it. Sometimes a no means readjust. And then you can readjust by what feels right. The inner navigation piece is going to be very, very important. You've been using it all along. When it comes to, and this is another thing about everybody being intuitive, you've been using this navigation piece your entire life. Guarantee right now, you can think of a time. And if you're in the live, give me one of those times. But I guarantee right now you can think of a time where you had a really strong intuitive moment that came out of nowhere and you were like, wow, that's kind of cool, right? It's always been working. It's always been going on. And Sherry's like, yep. It's always been happening. And all I'm talking about here, which is the value piece of why I think people should carve out 10 minutes a day to work on their intuition, is because it's going on in your body, in your senses. It's happening all the time. It's what's kept you safe to this point. It's what's gotten you from here to there to navigate things that are easy and hard. But if you can get on the team, if you can get into the awareness piece, if you can see kind of behind the curtains of what's going on, you're consciously on the team. That changes the whole game and it makes your life way more enjoyable, way more. Yeah, Jennifer says, starting my biz. Yep. Exactly. Yep. See, even Charlene has a great example. Not a great example because I'm so sorry this happened, but she says, I didn't listen to it. And then I fell and broke my elbow. So not a good example. I mean, good example. An example I wish you never went through. And Tracy says, how I found the perfect house. When we get on board, so there's this team with our intuition that's working round the clock, always has been from the beginning. But we have so much programming and we have so many things in this world that we don't no longer necessarily need our intuition. So we're not using it naturally. And this is why when some people who use it and start to hone their abilities, not gifts, because intuition is not a gift. This is just my opinion. But intuition is not a gift, because and I only say that it's a gift, but it's a gift everyone has. So if someone says, oh, I have a gift, and it's in a sort of a position type response of like, I have it and someone else doesn't, I can't get on board with that, because we all have it. It's a matter of if we're taking the time to do it, right? We all have it. It's a matter of if we're taking the time to look at it, tap into it, and check into it. And if you do tools for 10 minutes, 5 minutes, or start using them on the regular, you're going to be blown away at how it starts to snowball and open up, right? I love this. So when that's the value piece, right? It's there, it's strong, it's already working, you've had experiences. Now, when you put your attention on it on the regular, right? A couple minutes a day, just put your attention on it. Start to get used to how yours works, because everyone's intuition is different. You're going to have a massively exciting year, 2025. Okay, yes and no intuition, I want to touch base on real quickly as well. Yes and no intuition is, that's your go-to. That's your go-to for everything. If after we're done with this, you take some of the tools like GCP, which I'll explain, or you take like the self-reflection tool that I'm going to talk about. If you take a couple of these tools and you start using them on the regular, one more tool that I would say is yes and no intuition. Give yourself moments in the day when you have a question that you need to ask, or you need to make a decision on something, and say, should I do this? And then you sit quiet for 5 seconds. Should I not do this? And you sit quiet. Which one of those pulled you, right? You're either going to ask the question and you're going to get a sign or a symbol or a feeling or something that's like, yes, or no. Or you're like me, and I like to ask the positive and the other side, like the negative, like, should so I should do this, yes? And I sit and I wait. So I shouldn't do this, no. And then all of a sudden, when I say, I shouldn't do this, no, my whole body just rips through with like goosebumps. And I go, okay, that's my answer. No, shouldn't do that. And then you can go further and kind of explore with more questions and stuff. But yes and no questions, I encourage everyone, no matter how long you've been using your intuition, absolutely brand new, been doing it for years. I don't care how long you've been doing your intuition. Yes and no is oiling the machine. It is tending to the clock. It is a constant, it's getting your daily water in every day. Yes and no intuition, using it on the daily, perhaps once, maybe twice at the most, every single day, keeps you engaged in that intuitive channel. So very, very important. That'd be my very first takeaway. I know we're in the theory part, but you know me, I have to teach tools. That's my thing. I got to give you as many tools as I can, because I get so excited about it. But yes and no, once or twice a day, just sit with it. You can feel an answer, sense an answer. It's okay to just know that this one feels better than this one, right? You might get visuals, you might get sound. Maybe you'll even get more visuals, more like hearing, more seeing, feeling after I give you a couple more of these tools. Okay, so what's another key point? And this is a subtle one, small one, but it might be a puzzle piece for some of us that are watching here today. And so I like to put this one in here. This is kind of like a hodgepodge of how to navigate 2025 in the best way. And then here's all the important components. So this is a small one, but it might be a puzzle piece for you. What I would like to remind people is that we are looking for, that which we are looking for intuitively, the messages, the sensations, the visions, the sounds, the things that we're trying to be able to tap into. None of them are in the material world. And I just want to kind of throw that out there, right? It seems so obvious, but sometimes you hear something obvious and it clicks and you're like, oh. Here's my short example for this one. When you see something out of the corner of your eye and then you turn to look for it and it's gone, let me tell you exactly why. When you see something out of the corner of your eye, you're seeing something out of your peripheral, and your peripheral vision is blurred. When you turn and look, your solid vision is landing on the wall, the table, the chair. Your eye is searching the material world to find out what the heck was just in your side vision. This is because you did see something out of the corner of your eye in a state of defocus. when you focused in on the material world, you couldn't see it anymore because it's not in the material world. So our spiritual world, source, higher self, guides, loved ones, they're not in the material world. And I know that's such a simple concept, but sometimes when you say it out loud, it makes something click. And that's all I want for you today, is for something to click. And if you defocus, you relax. It's why a lot of intuitives close their eyes when they tap in, kind of just to separate from the material world. Just keep in mind what you're looking for is not in the solid. Okay, I won't go on too much about that. I go on a lot more about that in the courses and such. So if you're like want to deep dive into, the deep understandings of stuff, that's where you go. But these are the top pieces I want you to know when it comes to this this session. Because what I want to do, I'll talk a little bit about where you can get some resources. Okay, and then what I want to do is I want to bundle up some things that you can start doing right now. But I needed you to have those concepts, right? Everyone's intuitive. Your five senses are receiving intuitive information, but that's just not clear yet. One of the tools will address that. Yes and no intuition you should use all the time for the rest of your life. It hones your intuition. It keeps it honed, keeps it all sparkly, right? What you're looking for is not in the visible. And then lastly, before I talk about the programs and the tools and all that kind of stuff that I want to send you home with. Lastly, I want to talk about fear, okay? Because fear is really, really important, especially right now. We are in energetically, we're at the end of 2024, which is shaking loose any last remaining dust in our energetic fields, in our life pattern, et cetera, which can be really hard for some. For some, we're like, okay, I'm getting shook and I'm okay. This is all setting us up and getting us ready. This is a time of being reflective, looking inside and saying, okay, what am I learning about myself? Toward the end of the year, you're going to feel yourself, you're going to feel that inner work start to expand outward, especially toward the last 2 weeks of December. The last 2 weeks of December are also going to be a really good time to start new patterns and habits that you've always wanted to start. And then we're going to tip into the new year with that light expanding outward, and you're going to start to see manifesting start working faster. You're going to start to see more signs, and you're going to feel more of you. That's the best way that I can say it, right? Great, good point, Connie. Thank you. Connie says, I watched some of your videos a while back, and I love the tip of looking at this, the tip that you gave of looking at the space between you and the floor. Yeah. If you want to keep your eyes open, but you still want to tap into what I consider is like the in-between, right? So we've got the solid and then the in-between. You can sit about 3 or 4 feet in front of a wall and move your focus to the middle point between you and that wall. So you're not looking at the wall. And this sort of relaxes your gaze, right? People can do this with scrying mirrors, with candles. There's a whole lot of different ways you can do it, anything to relax your gaze. But that's how I started, and it really worked for me. And I started to see, feel, and hear things, my guides especially, right away when I relaxed that gaze. And at first you can only do it for a few minutes, but you'll see what I mean. You'll start to feel that you're in a different space. And it's because you're more connected into source. So when you disconnect from the agreed upon reality, you connect deeper into source. Great example. Love that. Great example. Okay, when it comes to stepping into 2025, I mean, I feel this way about always. I think people should hone their intuition, and this is why I put together so many tools and put together so many trainings, because everyone's intuition is different. Everyone's wired differently is what I really wanted to say. Everyone's wired differently intuitively, but the experiences that I have had since the age of 31, opening up intuitively, my entire life is different. It's not even like an exaggeration. Like, I'm actually happy now. And I walked through some really tough stuff as a kid. I walked through some really tough stuff in my middle years there. I'm still in my middle years, but you know what I mean? Like 20 years ago. And opening up to my intuition has empowered me. It has centered me. It has provided energy to be balanced in such a way within me, which these tools are going to help you do, that it started to attract what aligned with me, not with what I was told to do, not with what this person was telling me I had to do, not what this person was judging me on. I'm finally, and I'm 51, in case you're curious, and it's been a little bit of a journey. But if somebody said, what has been the biggest thing that has gotten you to where you are today? The intuitive tools, hands down, the intuitive tools. I mean, your intuitive tools get so strong and your inner light starts to expand outward in such a way that you have experiences that happen to you that you're like, I can't make that up. I can't make that up. We were towing an RV across the country, and all of a sudden the lights, mid-tow, freeway, 75 miles an hour, driving, huge RV on the back of the truck. And the lights on the truck said, brakes not working, right? Bing, 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 brakes not working. And we both looked at that and went, oh my gosh, right? So my partner, he's an amazing man, slowed down, just let it slow down, didn't hit the brakes, just let it slow down until we got luckily, to a rest stop. Pulled into the rest stop, and it kind of slowed to a stop, right? We got out, we checked the brakes, we double checked everything, and all of a sudden the truck said it's fine. And I was like, that's really odd. Okay, but we're okay. We're 30 minutes from the campground. Let's get back on. We'll go nice and slow. If it happens again, we'll pull over. We'll just be very cautious. I took an extra second. Remember how I said balance, right? So here's the human. Here's our human plan. This is what we're going to do. We're going to balance. I took an extra second before we got back on the road, and I did yes and no intuition and talked to my guides. And I said, hey, psst, just curious if I'm like stepping out on a death trap here. Is this a bad idea? Yes and no, right? I got no, you're fine. Am I okay? Yes. Are we safe? Yes. Okay. So I was able to, that yes and no, I can't tell you how powerful it is, right? Just quick yeses, quick yeses. Finally, I said to my guides, is there anything that I need to know? And he said, yes, you need to understand the brakes for the RV that you have, like, because we were still relatively new, it was still relatively new RV. And I said, okay. And I closed my eyes and I said, please show me the way to get information on what I need to know about what just happened with the brakes. Sent it out into the universe, which is what I'm talking about. Inner light going out, right? Got back in the truck, got to the campground, parked, set up, cooking dinner, right? Sitting outside. Lovely couple comes walking through the campground and walks up to us and goes, no way, you have the same camper as us. And we were like, no way. How cool. You can just picture the whole campground scene, right? And so we met him, we said hi, lovely couple. And the guy just sits there and he's looking. And then all of a sudden he looks at me and goes, so have you had any problems with the brakes on this unit? And I was like, as a matter of fact, yeah, about an hour ago. Yeah, we had a problem with the brakes. And he goes, okay, well, if you want, I can tell you why. We just went through the whole thing and I learned a whole bunch about it. And I'm like, I would love that. Like I could cry, right? Because this is what I'm talking about. Your life is still going to happen, but when you open your intuition, you're going to be in the flow. Now, okay, here's tools. And I'm going to give you a range of, first off, I'm going to give you a range of tools that you can do on your own outside of this. Because if you want to, let me rephrase that. I don't want to say if you want to, please continue honing your intuition, right? So I'm going to give you 3 different levels at which you can do it. I've got a free course. It's got 5 sessions in it, and they're really good. Like, please do it. Please, please, please. The first course is GCP, and then there's guide communication. There's disconnecting from the agreed upon reality. So that free course alone, if you start using some of those tools, is going to help. So this is like my super kind and nice way of saying, you don't have an excuse here, right? You've got that. That's there. So if you're going to start anywhere, start there. The next level up from that, because I know we offer a lot, so I'm breaking it down to 3 things here. The next level from that is what's called the Sage Circle. It's an online spiritual community membership. It's global. We've got members all over the world. It's very inexpensive. It's $19 a month. And for what you get for that, like, it's packed with stuff. It's packed with tools, with connections, with courses, with training. So if you're like, I want a little more than the free course and I want to try some stuff, that's what you start with, okay? If you want to go all in, if you're like, that's it, I am living my best life from here on out, nobody's going to stop me, I am unstoppable, let's do this, give me the tools, that this is it, yes, this is what I want, I would say go with the Sage Method bundle. Now, we put this on a huge sale because we're going into 2025, and I feel really strongly about wanting to help people take off into this year in their highest good. So even though the bundle is usually priced very high because there's so much, it's got the 7-week course in it. There's 12 additional training courses that are on mediumship, card reading, like astro travel, like all that. And then it's got a membership with that too. We took it down to like $97. And I know it's like, so it's more than 70% off, but I did it on purpose because you have lifetime access to it, right? If you're like, I could do this, but in March, I would say get it now, just because of that. But it's one of those things where you have lifetime access to it. I have people that have taken the Sage Method course like once a year for like a couple of years in a row now. And it just expands their life every time they take it. I'm not going to go into too much detail around that. But those are the 3 levels. You've got the free course. It's got some tools, get started. The $19 a month Sage Circle membership is something that is, it's got full of tools and stuff. The Sage Method, it's everything. I've been teaching that, like I said, since 2008. So it's considered the master course. All 3 of these. Now, when it comes to Angie says the story about the camper gave me chills. Yeah, that's how I live my life. Is I live my life now intuitively. That's what I tell people. Live your life intuitively. And if having something that you can work on, right? Like a 7-week course, okay, here's week 1, I'm going to work on this and here's the tools. If you're like me and you like to understand how it all works, and then you like tools given to you and you like to expand and learn, that's what all of this is about. That's all 3 of those levels. That's what all of this is about. I actually too, and normally when we sell the Sage Method course, we always offer a workbook bundle with it because, I love workbooks. I don't know about you, but like multicolored pens, and you're in the workbook and you're like filling it out for the day because there's homework in the 7-week course. It's a game-changing course. It's not like, hey, did you know how to do pendulum? This is how you do it. No, it's game-changing. So there's a workbook that goes along with it, and you can download the workbook for free. So you don't need to get the workbook bundle, but we always do the workbook bundle. And what we do is we physically in the mail you the workbook bundle and copy of the Cracking Open book that I mentioned in the beginning. And this year I was like, let's put the card deck in it. Let's do it. We're like, yeah. So I figured out a way. Where's my card deck? I figured out a way to put the card deck in it, right? Card deck is Beyond the Gate, the Cloud Jumper deck. Yeah. So if you haven't heard about it, we can buy these independently too, but I snuck this in the workbook bundle. So I'm like down there packaging the workbook bundle, and I get to put the card deck in there. Ooh, I love it. Anyway, so because I want people to have a tool that they can play with this year. Okay, those are the 3 things that are available for you, right? Highly, highly encourage. Right now, yes, big sale on the Sage Method. Right now, yes, the extra bundle includes the deck of cards. Like, so I'm just trying to make it accessible for everybody to get, because we're going into this year and we're going to go into it big time. Okay, now here's a couple takeaway tools that I want you to use right away, right out of the gate, right out of this, just like here we go kind of thing, right? Couple takeaway tools that I want you to start with is I want to give you a way to do yes and no intuition. I want you to do 5 senses work with your 5 senses, and then post evaluation. Now, I mentioned GCP, which is Ground Clear Protect. That is my foundational tool. It's found in everything you'll ever get. You'll find it in the Sage Method course in great detail in the Sage Method course. You'll find it in the Sage Circle. You'll find it in the free course, right? It is such an important foundational tool, and it's super easy. And I'm going to let you go to one of those to learn about GCP, Ground Clear Protect. I'm going to let you go do that, right? Because the teachings are already there. That's the first one I would go with, right? GCP, learn how to ground in the morning, clear, and then protect. You'll start to feel the difference. But when it comes to these other ones, they're also fun, right? So GCP, got it. Training, you can find it everywhere. Yes and no intuition. I talked about that a little bit earlier and how important it is. What I want you to do with yes and no, to play around and have some fun with it, okay? I want you to go and get some like index cards or something. I want you to, with the intent that you're going to learn what your intuition feels like when you do yes and no. So I want you to get index cards or paper that is all the same size and looks the same, right? And I want you to write different things on it. Perhaps you're trying to make a decision between moving to a new place or staying in the place that you're at. I want you to write on one card, move to a new place. And then another card, I want you to write, stay where I'm at. And I want you to fold them up so they match, so you can't tell them apart, mix them up a little bit, right? And then I want you to hold one at a time and say, is this a yes or a no? Like, is this a yes? Sit with it for a few seconds. Okay. Is this a no? And then sit with it for a few seconds. Here's the key to this exercise working. You will stay open, even if you've been using your intuition for a long time. You're going to stay open to how that intuitive message is going to come through. You're going to say to yourself before doing this, it could come through as a smell, as a feeling, as a sound, as a vision. It could come through in so many different ways. I'm going to forget everything I've done in the past intuitively, if you've done a lot. And I'm just going to just start fresh with this. I'm going to have index cards and I'm going to hold them so I don't know what I wrote in them. Okay, you're going to mix them up. You're going to write stuff down. It's kind of like a little fun experiment. And you're going to pick one up and you're going to hold it and you're going to say, is this a yes? And you're going to wait. Is this a no? Right? Or you can just, if you want to stick straight up with what a yes feels like or a no feels like, you can write one thing down on a card. Ooh, here's a fun one. Should I get a new dog? Right? I'm always asking myself that question. I swear I would have like 20 of them. So do you post to Northern Ireland? Yes. Yes. Oh, the workbook bundle. Oh, you live in Argentina. My apologies. I should have answered these questions when they came through. Sorry. Yes, we ship all over the globe. The workbook bundle is shipped all over the globe. The Sage Method course with like all the bonuses and everything in it, right? 70% off is $97. If you get the workbook bundle, it's $49. This year, we're paying for shipping. So if it costs me like $49 to ship it to you, I'm still going to ship it to you because I want you to have it. So well, it never costs that much to ship to Northern Ireland. But yes, we cover shipping. We cover shipping. We just kind of like, we on this end just feel like that bundle is just part of the course. That's it. We're just treating it like it's part of the course. And not everybody wants it. That's why we separate it out. But the courses online are 97 and then the bundle's 49. And then, yeah, we ship to Northern Ireland, Argentina. Yes, Australia. I just shipped one to Brisbane, I think. Yeah, I just shipped, and I ship them. There's a stone that I put in the workbook bundle, and I pick from a bunch of stones and I'll take the stone out. When your order comes through, I'll take the stone out and I will sit with it and I'll meditate on your intuitive journey and fill it full of really, 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 really good energy. And then I package that up and I put it into your bundle before I seal it on up. I package all the bundles here. It's my thing. And I won't let anybody else do it because it means something to me. So that's it. That's it. Yes. Hefa, yep, quite. Yeah, we've sent all over the world, So, okay, back to the yes and no. When it comes to the index cards, what you can do is you can write, should I get a dog? Like ask yourself one question on an index card, ask another question, ask another question. So write out like 4 or 5 questions, mix them up so you can't tell what they are and pick one up. Now you don't know what the question is that you're doing your intuition with. You don't. So you take one out of the group that you wrote and you go, is this a yes? Okay. No, right? Feel what the yes and the no feel like. Some people do this even with muscle testing. Like we've heard about muscle testing, right? You might feel that your body moves forward when you get a yes, or you might feel that your body moves back when you get a no. For me, either, and this is why we stay open to how it will come through, either sometimes when I ask yes and no questions, I'll say, should I do this? I will either see giant letters, YES, fall down in front of me, or I'll see giant letters NO fall down in front of me. Or sometimes I ask a yes and no question and say, should I do this? And I will feel a rush go through my body. That's a yes. Or I will feel absolutely hollow, which is a no. Take this exercise and learn your intuition's response to yes and your intuition's response to no. And then literally, you could be walking up and down the aisles of a store and be like, should I buy this? And your intuition will either be like, yes, or it'll be like, no, or it will be nothing. Do you know what happens when intuition doesn't really show up when you ask a yes or no question? It's kind of your intuition going, doesn't matter either way, right? But you can ask these for more important questions, et cetera, balances out your experience. The highs in your life become higher. The lows in your life become not so low. Okay. So that is a really, really good one. Yes, just like a pendulum. A lot of people use a pendulum as well for the yes and no. When you're using a pendulum, if you like using a pendulum to get yes and no, use this for that. Write down the index cards, fold them all up so you can't tell. Use your pendulum over the cards if you're used to that. But at the same time that your pendulum is saying either yes or no, feel your intuition also experiencing yes or no. So you can use your pendulum to help you feel internally the yes or the no. Mwah, I love this. This is such a simple exercise, but it's massive. So start using that every day if you can. Just sit down for a minute or two and be like, all right, I want to ask a question about this, and get to know your yes and no. That's catchy. That's like a t-shirt. I'd get to know your yes and no. No, because you'd wear the t-shirt and people would be like, what the heck? You'd be like, it's a long story. You wouldn't get it. Okay, here's your next exercise that you can start doing right away. You know how I talked about the five senses? They're all coming in on roads, right? And we know something came through, but we don't know how it came through. Like we know something, but we don't know how. This is what I want you to do. And this is not an intuition exercise, which is actually kind of fun. For 5 minutes a day, I want you to pick one of your senses and use it consistently for 5 minutes. I want you to pick seeing, hearing, feeling, smelling, tasting. Pick one of those. And in the human, concrete, non-intuitive world, for 5 minutes each day, I want you to smell everything. Pick a sense. Let's pick smell because that's really fun. I want you to smell everything. This is my cap to my kombucha. See, it doesn't smell like kombucha. But you know what? Now, my five senses know what this cap smells like. What does that mean? That means that if an intuitive message comes through, it can more easily come all the way down the road to go, it's a smell. Remember this smell? When you start paying attention to how you receive things in this world through sight, sound, I can't list them all, sorry. When you get all of those, when you start becoming more heightenedly aware of what different things look like, what different things feel like. I put this sweater on today, right? But do I really know what it feels like, right? But now I do. I'm focusing in on actually concentrating on what this really feels like. Spend 5 minutes, pick one sense, and have fun with it. Go around the house and just feel everything. You'll be surprised. You know, okay, there's a wax plant in the corner of my room. I know I'm not very good with plants. I'm a little bit of a black thumb, not a green thumb. And there's a wax plant over there. I'm looking at it going, I wonder what it really feels like if I actually feel it and think about it. When you do this practice, first off, it's kind of fun, right? When you taste something and you take a bite of food with a fork, have you ever felt what the fork actually felt like when you tasted the food, right? This is what I'm talking about. So putting some conscious awareness on the actual experience of tasting something, feeling something, hearing something, that is going to open those 5 roads to your intuition, that your intuition is going to be able to just come in clearer and clearer. Your intuition is almost like source saying, thank you. I'm glad that you have more of a heightened awareness of your 5 senses, because now my intuitive message can come all the way through. I hope that makes sense. Hope that makes sense. Okay, so exercise 1. Yeah, I got one more before we go. But 3. So you got 3 of them. Okay, 4 if you include GCP, but GCP is in all the other trainings. So 3 in this session. The first one is the yes and no's, pendulum, index cards, play around with it, get to know your personal yes and your personal no for your intuition. The second one is play around with your 5 senses for 5 minutes a day, pick a sense, and then smell everything. You're welcome. And I'm sorry, but no, it's actually, but yeah, right? So that's your next one. When you do that and become more heightenedly aware, cognitively heightenedly aware, the neurons in your brain are going to fire in such a way that it's going to invite your intuitive moment to come all the way through one of your senses. Here's the last one. This one's a little bit more intricate. Well, not really. The last one is evaluating your intuitive moments after they happen. Here's something that a lot of trainings out there miss, because when I train, it's really detailed. Like I want to make sure you really understand how things work, why they're working the way they are, how you are connected into it. When you have, this is the third one, we'll call it post-evaluation. When you have an intuitive moment and it happens, you know who's going to call, and all of a sudden the phone rings and they call, or you know that you should do this and you follow it, it comes in and you know it's intuition. If possible, if you can take 60 seconds, carve out 60 seconds after the intuitive moment to review the intuitive moment, I can't tell you how big this is. Your intuition is going to expand faster. What does this look like? Okay, I get an image of my best friend. She just popped into my head. Oh, and then the phone rings and it's her. That was intuition. It was definitely intuition. My intuition went, your best friend's going to call you. And then it just happened. Now, when it's all done, after the phone call, I sit down and I do a post-evaluation and I say, okay, I had an intuitive moment. I knew she was going to call me, and then she did. And then I'll probably say this. I don't know how I knew, but I just knew. That's for most of us. That's most of the time. Okay, that's all right. I'm going to recreate what happened right before, where the knowledge that she was going to call me popped in, and I'm going to recreate it looking for something. Did I think of her name? Did I see her face? Did I remember a memory of her? Something happened with your 5 senses. Something happened. And when you do that post-evaluation and look back on the intuitive moment to say, did I see something? Did I feel something? Did I hear something? Very openly with yourself. Did I? I think I might have. And you do that post-evaluation, you're going to sense it. You're going to go, you know what? I think I did. Hold on. I think I saw her face. This is what's going to happen. I'm not asking you to, here's the trick. I'm not asking you to do this post-evaluation to figure out how it came through. I'm asking you to do the post-evaluation to open yourself up to how it might have come through. Because when you feel that, then the next time it happens, you'll feel it more when it happens. So intuitive moment happens. You don't know how you know, but you just know. Afterwards, you sit down and you go, I wonder, did I see something? Did I hear something? You're evaluating. Did I see something? I think I might have heard something. The act of that post-evaluation says to the neurons in your mind, to your 5 senses, to your intuitive channel, the act of that post-evaluation says to your intuition, I'm paying attention. I'm looking at it. Hey, I'm really focusing in on it, okay? The next time it happens, you're going to be more open to receiving it through that sense because you looked at it, you evaluated it. You know what? Yeah, I think I saw her face. So then the next time it happens, and all of a sudden a picture of your aunt's face pops in, and then the phone rings and it's your aunt, you can be like, I saw it. I saw it. I actually saw it. And visual. Or if you hear your aunt's name because you've done some evaluation earlier, you'll be like, I heard it. I heard it this time. Yes. So instead of waiting to see something, instead of waiting to hear something, take the intuitive moments that you're having now, which you're going to have many, GCP, 5 senses, yes and no. Take the intuitive moments that you're having now, and afterwards, evaluate them. That evaluation is going to open your channels up further and faster. So you'll recognize it more easily. Best way to say it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, I'm gonna wrap up here. I'm gonna answer two questions here that I've got, and then I'll quit the recording. But I am gonna wrap up this session here. I've got your 3 tools, right? And I'm really, really, really encouraging you, whether it's jumping into the free course or jumping into the monthly membership, or the best really is the Sage Method course with all of those. Whatever it is for you, please consider it, because these tools are going to just massively enhance your upcoming year. Okay, so I'm going to answer a couple questions, but that is the wrapping up of the training in case somebody was here and they're like, okay, it's an hour. I gotta go. Got it. Luciana, thank you. Says, I loved it. Thanks so much. This was amazing and inspiring. I love that so much. Charlene says, how long is the Sage Method on sale for? It's on sale as long as I have the bundles. I got stocked up and they're down there. And as long as they're there, I can keep doing this. So that's how long the sale is going to be on. So I wish I could tell you a date, but I don't know. I'm going to at least say for the next week. I'm going to at least say, but it's as long as those are stocked. Repeat the bundles, please. Yes. The bundles, when I get all the stuff for them, because it's filled with stuff. It's the workbook and cracking open, and then I do the stones, and then the card decks and everything. But everything together takes like 6 weeks to get here and put all together and everything. So, but anyway, oh, Link, I'm so sorry. I get so caught up in teaching. Here, let me put the link in, and okay, this link's for that, and that'll give you all of the information. Like, I made sure everything on that page tells you everything really that you need to know about it, but you can always email us with questions. I'm here all day, actually. Thank you, Sarah. This has been wonderful to learn. Okay, so it has been recorded, Kathleen. That's actually a really important question. I'm going to answer that one first. It's been recorded, and I'm going to send it an email. Right? I'm going to send all of you an email so you can have the replay link if you want to go through the tools again. If you're like, wait, I need to hear her again one more time, like how she explained that tool. And then also I'll put the link in the email too. I'll get one together right after this, I promise. Okay, where are the questions that I saw earlier? Tammy, the 97 include the bundle. No, the 97 is the course. It's the 7-week master course, which is like end all be all. I love that course so much. It's the master course of 7 weeks plus 12 bonus 3-hour courses on mediumship, astral travel, all that kind of stuff. But the bundle is a physical bundle, and so that's an additional cost of $49, but then we cover shipping all over the globe. Because we do have a free downloadable workbook in the course. So you'll get the workbook either way. Some people just like that hands-on workbook, and then some people, and then get the card deck. Oh, look at this deck, right? I love it. I'm trying to find another one there. Isn't that cool? Yeah. Yeah, but this is my first deck. This deck launched a couple months ago and it's wonderful. Okay. Connie says, is there a place where students set up reading exchanges? I've taken some good beginner classes and I'm pretty good at listening to my inner guidance as life. Yet I feel like doing more reading exchanges would really help me grow. Absolutely. There is intuitive practice areas in the Sage Circle. So we have like a feed, and there's an intuitive practice feed, and people connect there to be able to connect and do readings with each other. The Sage Circle, there's so much in it. And when you join, there's a free session with me, like a free hangout session in the beginning where I can show you all the stuff in the circle. And the circle's included in the Sage Method. You get 2 months free in the circle. So if you're like, that Sage Method thing I should do, I make sure everybody who's doing the Sage Method for 7 weeks is in the circle for free for 2 months for the support structure of it, to be able to kind of reach me and everyone else and connect with that. And then there was one more question in here too. Irene says, I'm enrolled in the monthly plan for 19. That is the Sage Circle. So you're in the Sage Circle, Irene. Beautiful, let it. Yeah, the Sage Circle, the Sage Method is different than the Sage Circle. That's why I tried to kind of lay it out. The Sage Circle is the membership. The Sage Method is the 7-week course that I've been teaching since 2008. That's the master training program, I guess you could say, right? And then I thought there was one more in here. I just want to say thank you to everybody who came today. I love this so much. Didn't see the link on the chat. Okay, let me get Oh, Yari says, I purchased the Sage method last year, but never got into the circle. Can I still do it? Yeah, absolutely. You can just jump into the circle. Send us an email at info@thesage method so we can make sure to get you set up the right way. Cool. All right, got it. There it is. How would I know the messages I'm getting are from my intuition and not my fear? I knew it, Alice. Thank you. And there was one more question in here that I knew I had to answer. The yes and no is going to help you. GCP is going to be a ground, clear, and protect. The protect is like a filter. It's like a only let in what's supposed to be for my highest good and keep out what's not going to be for my highest good. So I would say if you're concerned about something or you think something came through and it was just you being worried about it, I would say do GCP quickly, like ground, clear, protect. You'll get used to it until you get to a point where doing GCP, you do it in your mind. It's an intent exercise. It's free. The whole world should do it. And you can do it in just a few seconds. So if something comes through and you're like, is that coming through because I'm worried about it? Do GCP, which will kind of reset your energy system, and then ask the question again. And you'll get a whole lot more clarity because that is so fair. That is so fair that we could get really, things can come through. I'm a mom of two. Are you kidding? I've had things come through and I'm like, am I just worried? Or was that my intuition? And sometimes it comes through and you can't tell the difference right away. Reset, ground yourself, clear out everything that just came through, put a bubble around you that's like a filtration system. And then ask the question again, is this something is this an intuitive moment? Can you show that to me again if this is intuition? And if it doesn't come through, then you know it was fear. So you're so welcome, Alice. I know that's a really important question. And Sue says, may I share your email with this recording with friends? Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm that person that like, I just want everyone to do GCP. Just everyone just do this, do this, do this, do this. Here, here, here. My job is to raise the vibration. How do I do that? I do it with a ripple effect. My ripple effect is to say, try this, try this, try this. My entire core is one big old cheerleader. That's just who I am. It's why I consider myself a lighthouse teacher and not like a guru, right? I'm not sitting here going, come to me, I will have all your answers for the rest of your life. That's not my groove. My groove is give me a chance to stand by your side and go, you can do this. And then give me a chance to give you the tools that you're like, I can do this. That's who I am. That's who I am. It's a lovely life. Do you remember me saying earlier, I really love my life now? I really love my life now. Okay, with that, I'm going to wrap up. I absolutely adore you. Tell somebody that you love them today. Please know that I love you and that you are an amazing soul. This coming year, the light from inside out, right? Use tools to get into that inner wisdom, that inner navigation, right? Dive into these tools. Oh, it's going to be so good. And maybe I'll see you in the circle. All right. Bye, everyone. Thank you so much.